Hi guys, it's Miss Leah, and today we're going to be pancaking our ballet shoes to make them our skin color, like so. Nowadays, more companies are making some shoes that are actually our skin color, which is amazing. But they don't make every shade of our skin colors. So, one brand of shoes that I really like that are these ones that I did not pancake. I bought like this. It's the Capezio Hanami, Hanami, and they have three really wonderful like nude colored shades. And one is the nude, which is a lighter skin color. This is light suntan, which is for medium skin tones. And then they also have mocha for the darker complexions. So if you want to go to your local dance supply store to see if they have a shoe that's already in your neutral skin color, I highly recommend that. They do have them on Discount Dance Supply or any other online supplier, but you're not likely going to find the correct fit or shade in the time you need. So take the time to go out and buy them at a store near you if you don't want to pancake your shoes. I am pancaking a old pair of ballet shoes. I already did one and I'll show you how to do it on this one. This is the Angelo Luiso stretch canvas. Any canvas shoe is great. You don't want to pancake them on leather because it's just going to rub off and be really dangerous. So you're going to get foundation from your whatever store that you like. I choose cheap stuff because why use expensive makeup when you can go to the dollar store and get something less expensive? Now, they don't have super dark complexion things. They usually have it in, like, this is the darkest that I found, and it's dark 1, and it's not that dark. So you may have to go to your local drugstore. I go to the Dollar Tree where everything's $1. But Target has e.l.f. products, which are really great, and they could also have darker complexions. Just do whatever works for you. Don't worry about the really expensive stuff, and it doesn't have to match 100%. It just has to be close. And I highly recommend that you find a foundation that is close to the tights that you're going to be wearing. So they have like light tan tights, then they have suntan tights. You see that there is a slight color differentiation. This is a little darker, but now they are making darker complexion tights, which is fabulous. So I have a coffee tight for the dancers who have a little bit of a darker complexion, and then this is by Theatricals. All of my tights I wear Theatricals. They're very comfortable. And then this is Espresso for the really rich complexion. So find a foundation that matches your tights unless you're not wearing tights. Then find a foundation that matches your leg color. When I pancake my shoes, I usually just do whatever skin color because I don't wear tights with it. Like I did my point shoes last week. It's a little bit darker because the foundation I used was from the summertime and not necessarily in the wintertime. But they still match well, even if I put them on. You're not going to be able to tell that difference off stage. So, a couple things that you're going to need is obviously your foundation. It can be a liquid, it can be cream, whatever you find that is your skin tone or whatever complexion color that you're going for. I like using the Ultimate Sheer Tinted Moisturizer by Wet n Wild. And I believe you can find Wet n Wild brand at Five Below, which is great because that's inexpensive. This other stuff is the same thing. Moisturizing foundation. All of it's going to have mostly oil-based. So if you want to get a regular foundation, that's fine. You can always thin it out a little bit by adding a little bit of water. You're going to need makeup sponges so you can spread it. I like to have like 2 combined to make like a little wedge nice and even so it doesn't like fray all over the place. Then lastly, what you're going to need is like a powder that you're going to finish it with. So this is a contour thing that I use, and it has a lot of different shades. You're going to want to use this at the very end of your process to set the foundation, absorb the excess oil before you dance on it, and it'll dry all together. That I got from Burlington Coat Factory, but you can use any old foundation powder or finishing powder, anything like that, dollar store. Go for it. This is a little palette I have from e.l.f. And this is really, really nice for those darker complexions that if you can't find a foundation to match 100%, you can just brush over this with a nice big powder brush and maybe even it out better to match your skin tone. So let's get started. I have a little dish where I put some foundation in. You're not going to need a lot, so just squeeze in a little at a time and just keep adding so you don't waste. And we are setting the one that's already done aside, and we'll do this one now. Okay, so you're going to dip your end in. You want to evenly coat your sponge so that you have a good amount of foundation on it, but not too little because it's going to spread a lot. Now, you are going to want to go around the sole. Do not cover the suede bottom. It will be a mess. Kids will be slipping all over the place. It's going to leave foundation all over the Marley floor, the dance floor, and that's just not good. So you're going to try to get as close to the edge around as you can without getting it on the bottom. And start nice and close and just spread it away from the shoe. And then just rub it in. Now stick your fingers in there, up at the top of the shoe, and really get in the crevices. You want to fill those out nicely. I don't know if you can see 100% what I'm doing here. And same thing, you want to go around the edges. Use the tip of it to get into like the little crevice. And smooth it out. Do the bottom side of your shoe first. Good. Sorry about that. Just moving the camera a little bit. And again. Spread it all the way down. A little bit goes a long way. I've only dipped my sponge a couple of times. Stretch the shoe so that you can get a nice flat arch. And then we'll go back later if you've missed any spots. Now we're getting around the heel. Do the same thing. You don't want to get the sole of the shoe with any makeup. This doesn't take terribly long. This is just a little awkward showing it this way instead of like actually seeing it. So don't worry, it's not very time consuming. Again, just find the brim. We can always go back later and touch it up. And just spread it away from the sole, not towards it. You want to get the whole heel. Good. So this looks pretty evenly coated. Now, what I'm going to do is flip the shoe over, because this is the important part of the shoe. Get this edge a little bit better. Put the shoe on your hand like a fist. If you have a smaller kid's shoe, that's okay. Just use a sock or something to make it a little thicker so you can get a nice smooth stretch. This is the important part because this is what the audience sees the most. So you're gonna get the little crevices and the top of the shoe very well. Again, make sure you're spreading away from the sole just in case. And spread up the shoe. You wanna go in like the same direction. And it's okay if you go up past the shoe and you get your hand a little bit. You want to make sure that everything is covered. I'm going to add a little bit more of my foundation. I like the sheer moisturizer just because it's a little thinner and it just covers really well. Not too heavy, so it won't take super long to dry. This is also works really well for satin point shoes. Look at that even coverage right now. And don't forget to go up the sides. This is shedding a lot. That's why you want to have extra sponges. Get those little nooks and crannies. But make sure that you go up the sides and get the side of the arch. Nice and evenly. Yeah. And you do that for both ends. One important thing to not forget is doing the tops right up here and around this because it will be very noticeable on stage. So get the top of it really well. And this is where I also like to take the shoe off of my hand and go a little bit inside. Just rub it inside so that it's a little bit tan inside, so once it's on, and even if the fabric rolls a little bit, it's not going to show on stage. Don't forget about the heel. You have to do the entire thing. So go around, get the heel, and then you'll start to notice where things are already drying. that you might have to go and touch up later. So just keep applying all the way around the shoe. It's going to be damp. Do not put them in the dryer. It will shrink your child's shoes. There. So now you have all of that done. And you might start to see a couple things that need to be a little more even. Even it out. Good. Now we have to do the elastics. So put your hand through, lift your elastics up like so. Put your hand through so that it's on the front of your hand. You're going to want to do all of the elastics both sides, even underneath of the X. Go all the way from the edge. Cover all the way through. Like I said, get a little bit on the inside. Make sure you get that spot. See how much that changed already? And look at the difference. You're going to want to move the elastic, continue it all the way up to the other side. Till it's evenly coated. And then do the last part. Awesome. So now my whole shoe is done. When you take it off, you might see that you have edges that need to be done even more. Just smudge the remainder of your foundation in there. Get the undersides. Make sure it's all the same color. One thing that people forget are to do these. Either you double knot your top, cut them off very short so they don't pop out. As you can see, I don't have very big loops. They're just minimum. Do those too. Just in case they were to pop out on stage, you do not want them to come out on stage. But just in case they did, it matches everything and it won't be as noticeable. Nothing will look worse on stage than a ribbon coming out. Even worse is if it's a different color. So just rub the foundation all on. And there you go. So see, not as bad. But they're going to be tucked in. So now my shoe is wet. We're going to set it aside and let it dry. Then you're going to go back to your first shoe. If you haven't done your other one. This one dried for a little bit. Inspect. See if there's any spots. You see how it's a little blotchy? We're going to just touch those up a little bit. Before we apply the powder till set. So figure out what light you need. Just brush it over lightly. Make sure it's nice and even. Honestly, it's not going to be completely striking. People aren't going to notice the super blotchiness. But if it's a big drastic like color difference, like an edge or something like that, touch that up. You'll notice most of them are in like the creases or where the shoe folds. So just pull it at different angles. Go all the way around. Check the heel especially because that's very rounded. Just fill in what needs to be filled. I wouldn't recommend doing the whole shoe because then it's just going to be really, really damp and it's going to take a long time to dry. Cool. So now the shoe is way more even. And we're going to start powdering it. Okay. So you can do it the same way. Put your shoe on your wrist. I'm going to use a medium neutral powder. I'm going to use this shade right here just to give it a nice even coat. I don't recommend you get a bronzer that has shimmer in it because it will look different on stage. The light's going to hit the shoe, shine on it, and then you're going to really notice it. The point of doing your shoes like this is to make a blend in. So get a matte color. And you're just going to dip it in and swirl it around and then brush your shoes with it. Make sure that when you dip it in your foundation, your powder, that it's evenly coated so you don't get streaks, and put it on in a round way. If you think it's too dark, just go to a layer shade. Same thing applies to the bottom of the shoe. Just get the part that you make up, that you put all your makeup on. Go around the sole of the shoe. Like I said, using a tinted powder is good because the loose powder will get in the nooks and crannies a little bit better, in case you missed something. And then do the same thing for the heel. Just brush it all over. You can do the same for the elastic. The elastic's just a different material. So it soaks in really, really well. But do your elastics too, why not? Just a quick dusting. Great. And then that's it. Now, set it aside. Make sure you do both shoes. And you are going to let it dry for minimally 24 hours. I recommend doing somewhere closer to 48 hours or 72 hours. 3 days is a good time for it to set in, seep, and dry before you dance on Marley, just so that it doesn't rub off, the oil is soaked in, and then it doesn't mess up the floors. So yeah, that's it. You're just going to powder up your second shoe the same way that you did before, after you touched it up, and then you're good to go. Now, like I said, this shoe is going to match these tights perfectly. Look at how well that goes. And on stage, you're not going to even notice. So that's what you can do. That's how you pancake your ballet shoes if you don't have a shade out there that's already your natural tan color. And this is my pancaked shoe. This is the shoe that I bought. They're slightly different in color. Again, foundations change. But you can really just use whatever you have and make it work. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Miss Liz and I are here to help you guys out. Thank you.